there has been word that that China and Russia have made basically a unilateral pact between the two of them that, and this is in talks. This is not like a been inked, but ultimately they're talking about. Okay, back up. The United States basically said to Russia that if you decide that you're going to step foot into Ukraine, right, we are going to no longer allow you access to the SWIFT system. For those of you that don't know what the SWIFT system is, that is literally probably I don't even know if it's the largest or not, but it's probably the largest, the largest number as it relates to transactions moving all around the world. That's how money is wired here, there, everywhere. That's what all the XRP maxis will tell you they're going to take over to move money around the world. Okay. So what basically, because of that, I think this Bitcoin thing plays into, and I'd love to hear what you think, Miguel. They said that China and Russia are essentially talking about teaming up and saying they've made this unilateral decision that, hey, if this happens, or maybe we just make it happen, we will just not transact in US dollars. Dude, the US dollar is the world reserve currency. Are we losing our grip? Like what happens if two of the world superpowers, because really there's three world superpowers, if you really look at it, I believe. You've got the United States, you've got China, and you've got Russia. You could argue the what that looks like in terms of who's first, whatever. But if two of those superpowers say world reserve currency, who? Right? Like, what is that? Are we losing our grip? Is this a bad thing, Miguel? I mean, especially those two huge superpowers talking about teaming up.
Yeah, it is bad news, right? And this goes back to what we spoke about, I think about a week or two ago, that Bitcoin is a national security threat, right, to the United States. The world reserve currency for the dollar is on the brink. It's dying. It's no longer going to be there. And honestly, I wanted to bring this up on Around the Blockchain today, but the question was not asked. The topic was not brought up.
I told you, bro. You just need
The
to say,
topic was not
listen.
brought up.
You just need to tell them. You say, listen, I know you guys got a great thing going here. I hate this question that you're asking me right now. So let me talk to you about something that I feel to be important. That's what you do, bro.
I thought they were going to bring up the Russia thing. I saw that BitBoy had spoken about it earlier in his live, but I thought it should have been a good thing to have been brought up for multiple people to ask. But whatever. The whole deal is, with Russia getting now into cryptocurrency, into Bitcoin, seeing it as a currency, this is a huge problem to the dollar. Why? Because what's happening over here with the dollar is we're talking about, hey, we might go into a black swan event, right? Interest rate hikes. We might go into deflation, which we use the word deflation like it's a good thing, and yes, it's a good thing dollar wise, but deflation will lead us pretty much into a deep recession, possibly a depression. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be economically terrible for the people, right? So meanwhile, we're in a depression, and the world reserve currency, the dollar, right? If the United States is in a depression, what is the rest of the world going to be at, right? What happened in 1929 when the depression hit? Everybody was feeling the pain worldwide. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that being said, now we're in 2022. If another depression situation were to occur, many countries would think to themselves, what can we do to avoid these situations ever again? Why should we depend on the United States dollar and their mechanism and how they behave with it on our livelihood, right? It's they played around with money that they didn't have, and now they've caused this depression, which has effectively led to dealing with my country. And I don't want to deal with that anymore. I don't want to live with their boot on my neck anymore. What's the option? Russia and China are going to be like, hey, remember this Bitcoin thing? Yeah, we don't need to deal with the dollar. We don't need to deal with sanctions. We don't need to deal with anything. Hop on the train. And Bitcoin is a way out. So I think if we do go into a depression or a deflationary whatever that everybody's calling for, like BitBoy, I think that's actually bullish for Bitcoin long term, and more countries would jump onto Bitcoin and have hyper Bitcoinization happen because of this.
So I saw something in the chat. And that's a great thought, Miguel. I absolutely agree with a lot of that. But check this out. So Cameron, I'm on board with you, brother. So Cameron says, also strange how in the same day Russia recognizes Bitcoin as a currency, the USA seizes $3.6 billion
24 hours apart.
right? Yeah.